So I think I do an early morning video. I say early morning, I've been up since 4:30. It's 7:30 now, but the sun's just starting to peek over the trees just a little, and it really makes for a beautiful video, at least in my opinion. I think other people agree. Somebody asked me to walk out in my woods during the springtime, so I will. I always find, not always, that's not a true statement, there are some falls seasons that are just beautiful here. 2 years ago, the colors in the woods were just amazing in October. Of course, we didn't get that last year, but I do understand the spring. It's kind of neat. I tell you, it has just exploded this week. The greenage has. The temperatures are extremely cold. It nearly got down to freezing last night. This is, I'm sure everybody's feeling the effects of this, but it's chilly. I should have put a coat on, but I thought, nah. So this morning, last few mornings, I've had to start a fire. The problem is, well, yesterday got up to 50s, but today's going to get up in the 70s. So you start a fire, and then by the afternoon, you're opening the windows. It just seems like a waste of firewood. But I want to cut grass, but yesterday the wind was so, I don't know, 20, 30 mile an hour winds, which is pretty unusual for this area. So I thought, with it being cold and then adding another 4 or 5 miles an hour on the lawnmower, I think the lawnmower can do 5 miles an hour. I just don't want to deal with that kind of cold, so I didn't cut it. But it is keeping the snakes down, I guess, and maybe the ticks too. I think we've had one tick. I've had 2 ticks on me. Carolyn's had 1 tick, I think, and Skitty has, I think, 1 tick. And I know somebody's gonna say, you need to put flea and tick medicine on her. We do. She still gets them. So this is my 1.5 acres. I've talked to you many times about it. Got it pretty cheap. And I think what we have done is amazing here. I think a lot of people think that if you're going to do something, you got to do it big. You got to have lots of acreage. You've got to have tons of money. You've got to have the best garden, the best livestock. You got to have sheep and goats and cows and pigs, and you just got to do it all. And I think I have proven that you don't. But there are still people out there who are making videos, calling out channels with 1.5 acres. I don't know how many are out there, but I know I'm one. So I was being called out by a fairly significant YouTube channel that what I say is a lie. And I know I shouldn't be offended. I don't even know if offended is the right word. Probably not. But let's just use the word offended for lack of a better one. That someone would call me a liar. I try to be honest about everything we do here, the successes and the failures. I mean, I tell you that the well has been a nightmare. It's been a failure more than it's been a success, but we finally got it to work well. Well. I tell you, this is just beautiful. So, I don't think that anybody that watches my channel for any length of time would think that I'm lying. Man, I can just imagine mushrooms sprouting out everywhere. And I thought about coming out this year and looking for them because it's supposed to be pretty fantastic this year. But since Carolyn and I are carnivores, the only thing we would do with them is give them to the chickens. And I thought, nah, let the turtles or whatever else eats them, have them. So, and I don't even know if Carolyn likes them. I don't know. I'm sure she would, but regardless, we're not going to eat them. We're on a carnivorous diet. Now, I've said many times that I feel like we're like 90 to 95, 99% self-sufficient here. There are things we do go out and buy, primarily food. Anything else we buy is just wants, not necessarily things we need, but food is the thing that we buy the most of, obviously. We spend about $50 a month for 2 people on our food. The rest of it, we just rely on our chickens. And so apparently that means that I'm lying. The thinking is there is no way I can be 90% self-sufficient. And then I always say, it wouldn't take much work to be completely self-sufficient. So the thinking is that's not possible. So here's what they said. They said that in order to be self-sufficient, you had to be able to raise your sugar or honey. You'd have to raise a big garden, and you wouldn't have enough space on your property to raise a big garden. You would have to have more property than what we have, because you got to have enough firewood. And I know where that's coming from. I've not cut down any trees on our property other than ones that needed it. So if we had a twin, let's see if we got any twins around here. Yeah, here's a twin. That one probably, one of these twins probably need to be cut down, because what happens is one tree takes more nutrition, or they're stealing nutrition from each other, and both of them will die. But if you cut one down, then you'll save the other one. So I've cut several of those down. I didn't even know that one was there. So that's the only thing I've done, is just try to do forest management here. Everything else we got from people giving it away. So we have, at the time, we had about 15 years worth of firewood just by going out and collecting it. So apparently that means that we can't do it here. We can't get our own firewood here. Well, we can. I've counted it. I think it's been a long time since I counted it, but I think I counted 60 plus trees here. And that's not even counting any trees that were over there on the clearing side. There's a few trees of walnut and several oaks. But if I cut every tree here, it would last us, I seem to think it was going to last us, I don't know, 20 or 30 years. I don't remember. But it was going to last the rest of my life, is the point. But then you also have these little saplings that I didn't count. So these saplings will grow into full. Oh, that top broke off of this little sapling. That's interesting. That will grow within the next 20 years to be something that you could use for firewood. So it will restock itself. There's a sapling. I mean, they're just everywhere. I don't cut the saplings down. So I don't quite understand why I couldn't use this property for firewood, because I only use a quart a year. If there's enough here to last the rest of my life, then acre and a half does it. But you got to grow your own food. No, I don't have to grow my own food, because we're on a carnivorous diet. The chickens, I'm telling you, in the summertime, Carolyn struggles to keep up with the chicken eggs. And it may even be worse next year, because we're going to have more chickens than we do this year, if everything works out like we think it should. We bought, I guess we had 21 chickens total. 22 chickens? Yeah, 22 chickens that we just got. We incubated 2 and got the rest. 5 of those could be roosters. Could be. That's if the max percentages of miscalculations on whether it was a female or male. So that would give us, what, 17? Well, we lost 3. So that takes us down to 14. So that gives us more chickens than what we have right now. So depending on the number of chickens we have, we may keep some of these chickens. We're going to butcher these chickens in the fall time. So we're going to get more eggs next year is the point. And these chickens are quite a bit older right now. And the older they get, the less eggs they produce. So to say that I got to have a big plot of land for vegetables and gardens, I don't need a garden at all. So then the only thing we have to think about is chicken food. And if we free ranged our chickens, I talked about this the other day. Of course, you gaslighted in the comment section all the time, like they didn't hear you say it. And I think chickens are the best if you want to be self-sufficient over rabbits. Somebody said, no, quail are. No, quail are terrible at being self-sufficient because when they go out to free range, you can't free range them. They won't come home. But chickens do. So you have to cage quail. So, you know, they gaslight you, telling you, but that's the thing. Instead of listening and saying, how can you be self-sufficient? They gaslight you to tell you, oh no, you can't be self-sufficient because you got to cage your animals. Not chickens, they come home. Of course, we would lose some, but I've said many times that we would start incubating non-stop. If we were getting eggs, every 3 weeks we would load that incubator back up if we wanted to be completely self-sufficient. And then we would have all the chickens that we need. We could eat chicken and eggs. You can't live off chicken and eggs. Yes, you can. I mean, it's funny. You know, these people, you gotta go to the doctor. Well, okay, we went to the doctor. Well, Carolyn did. We went to the emergency room, and she told the doctor she was on a carnivorous diet. You're gonna get scurvy. You need to take vitamin C's right away. And she said, do I have scurvy? Well, no, you don't look like you have scurvy. Well, I've been on the carnivorous diet for 3 years. How long does it take to get scurvy? So, I mean, it's just everything society provides you will kill you. I mean, the food that this YouTube channel wants me to buy, it's all going to kill you. Sugar, honey, it's all carbs, and it's going to kill you. Whereas I want to die of natural causes, not murder. I know that doesn't make sense, but it does in my head. I would prefer to eat chicken eggs and chicken, and occasionally, you know, you catch a raccoon or a possum, just set out your live traps. Now you're feeding your chickens protein, lots of protein. Boil it up. You don't even have to skin it or anything. Throw it in a big pot, boil it up, throw it out to the chickens. They'd eat it. To say I can't be self-sufficient, I got the small house, lots of firewood. The property can provide me with all the firewood I need. I don't need sugar, I don't need honey, I don't need vegetables. I've got everything I want. So the idea is to downsize your lives in every aspect. Oh, I can't live that way. Well, then you don't want to be self-sufficient. Because if you do the way that she is saying, you have to maintain a normal lifestyle. She wants to maintain a normal lifestyle. Then, yeah, you're never going to be self-sufficient. And then you just make fun of everybody else for saying that they can be. It's hypocritical to consider that everything is impossible because I can't do it. If you can't do it, then nobody can do it. Well, I can do it. And I feel like I've proven it all the time. Granted, I've not actually tried to just live off eggs and chicken completely. But here the last month, the chicken's been giving out so many eggs, we didn't even go shopping probably for, 6 weeks? So it pushed us out another 2 weeks. So it can be done. I was talking about this video idea to Carolyn this morning. And she said, well, she owned 8 acres at one time. And her husband at the time, his back was out. And he couldn't cut any firewood. And they had a really drafty house. Had a lot of issues with it. You know, they were trying to establish a place. So the kids and her went out and collected dry deadfall all through the property. Now you can't do that with these newer wood stoves, but just deadfall, wherever. They all picked it up, had enough firewood for the entire winter. So that was 8 acres. Now, granted, I understand that I just said 1.5 acres, but that's only because they didn't have time to plan out getting 15 years worth of firewood and had an old drafty house, used a lot of firewood. I don't want to get into all the stories of it, but that's the point, is you can do it. But you gotta, there's just no reason to have all that garbage. Sugar. Sugar is a killer. I gotta have my desserts. Well, yeah, so you can make YouTube videos, I guess, but you don't need desserts. They're terrible for you. Everybody knows it, but for some reason, when you say get rid of sugar, oh no, you have to have sugar. What? The Inuit up in Alaska, we've known this since before I was alive. Some guy went up there and lived with the Inuit for several years. Only eat meat, mostly fish and whale. They don't have vegetables and fruit up there. There's nobody shipping that stuff up to them. So if they're only eating meat and they're not getting scurvy, then it is possible to be self-sufficient without sugar. So if you'll click this up next box to take you to a video where I was showing you how to do laundry for free off-grid. So I hope I can inspire you to downsize your lives so you can live big when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.